Let's bring in now for further analysis Joseph Bahout, who's professor and director of the American University of Beirut's Institute for Public and International Affairs. Sir, thank you very much for joining us here in France 24. We appreciate your time. What does this mean for the Middle East? Clear sign the conflict is spreading. Would you agree?
I think that tonight, yes, we have closed 1 inch more towards probably the widening of this conflict. But as most of your analysts have already said, it largely depends on Hezbollah's retaliation. Now, clearly, in this action, there were 2 dimensions. There is the Lebanese dimension and the Hamas-Palestinian dimension. For Israel, what happened tonight is largely the first, let's say, qualitative success in targeting Hamas leaders abroad. They have already said that they would do in Lebanon, in Syria, in probably Qatar and maybe Turkey. This is the first big head of Hamas put down. Now, the other dimension is most important, is more important towards Lebanon, because I think this is the first real strike inside the depths of the Lebanese territory, inside Beirut. The strike has caused the deaths of 6 or 7 civilians so far. And Hassan Nasrallah, who is scheduled already to speak tomorrow evening, so it will be much awaited speech, has already said that any attempt or any assassination of Syrian, Palestinian, Lebanese, or any other leader in Beirut by Israel would be followed through by a strong qualitative retaliation. Now, the problem is that Hezbollah is cornered also because this apparatus doesn't want to go into a full-fledged war with Israel. So I think that the retaliation will have to be very carefully calibrated in order both to save face, but also not to plunge Lebanon and Hezbollah into a wider conflict.
This is a dangerous time. Joseph, as you were speaking to us, it's just dropped in front of me here that the leaders of the Qassam Brigade, Samia Findi Abu Amr and Issam al-Arouri Abu Amr, were also killed in this strike. Just giving you this for information. My next question is going to be what you expect Hezbollah to do now. I understand that depends on a number of factors, as you've just explained, including what Iran says. But Lebanon's Prime Minister, Najib Mikati, condemning this all as a new Israeli crime. He's concerned Israel's trying to drag Lebanon into this crisis. What do you make of that?
No, I think that it's obvious that it has been very obvious that October 7 or October 10, Prime Minister Netanyahu and certain people, certain figures around him in Israel are really seriously trying to widen the conflict to the border in Lebanon, to South Lebanon. And what has refrained of doing that was a very strong American pressure. Now, with this action tonight, of course, Hezbollah has to retaliate, but it will, as we said, try to retaliate in a calibrated way, not to really widen the conflict. But if repeatedly, as we said, the second figure of Hamas was killed tonight in South Lebanon, if actions of that sort are repeated in Lebanon, I think that Hezbollah will ultimately have to take a very bold decision at the risk of maybe entangling or plunging the country into conflict. But I think that at that point, the limit will also be an Israeli-Iranian one, because Iran will have to also be integrated in this widened conflict. And this is something that the American side have to carefully watch for. On that front, I think a very important info tonight is that Secretary Blinken has postponed his visit to Israel tomorrow. I think that everybody is watching now the Lebanese front, and probably a lot of pressure will be put on all sides in order not to see the conflict really reaching the entirety of Lebanon, thus Iran, and probably the Syrian front also.
But the fact that this strike took place not on the border, as we've been seeing the exchange of rocket fire, but right in the heart of Beirut, this is clearly saying something that is extremely serious.
Sure, it is serious, and my bet, I could be wrong, is that Hezbollah will retaliate probably on an important city or town in Israel, maybe the suburb of Tel Aviv. It will probably be calibrated in a way not to make too many casualties, civilian casualties, but I think that Hezbollah has to answer to this strike in a way that reaches the depths of Israel. I don't know how will they do it operationally and kinetically, but they have to do it. Now, if things go on and so on, and are repeated, probably the conflict will flare up and get out of control, and this could probably put the region in its entirety in a very new situation.
Joseph Bahout of the Beirut's Institute of Public Policy and International Affairs. Thank you for joining us here in France 24. Thank you for your analysis there. We do appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure. Thank you.